Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Fit for Function podcast. We are pumped up about this topic today because this is something we're really passionate about and that we think we can add a lot of value on. We're going to be talking about habits that you can unlock, behaviors that you can unlock that will increase productivity, predominantly in the workplace. Doesn't specifically have to be in the workplace, but increasing productivity in general. It goes without saying that these are not the only things. These might not work for you, but I think what's interesting about me and Bex is whilst there's a lot of similarities between us, we have a lot of different strengths and weaknesses. You do things better than I do and vice versa. And so what we quite like about that is these still work despite the differences in the way we like to work. Does that make sense? So yeah, I'm pumped about this. So let's get rocking and rolling because we want to be productive today. We're on a tight time schedule. Bex, get us rocking and rolling. Let's talk about some of the things that you can do to start having more productive days in the office or at work.
Okay, cool. I am going to start with the night before. And I feel like it's really you can do this every single night, but it's definitely on a Sunday night. So you can get a good overview of your week, because then you can start to plan accordingly. And that goes for stuff in work and outside of work, right? Like social events. Maybe you're going out and meeting meeting a client. It could be anything. So I think having a look at your week, or your day the night before, so you can start to map out and just be ahead of the day or ahead of the week. I think a big thing with productivity is clarity on what's important and what's not important, and I think then you can attack the day with clarity, knowing exactly what you need to get done and maybe where you could push back a specific task. So I think starting with the night before um, is really, really key, and mentally preparing for what's ahead of you the next day instead of waking up and being like, and letting the day happen to you.
I subscribe to that totally. Get in front of your schedule, get in front of your calendar for
Mm.
20 minutes, maybe 10. Just to be like you said, right, what does tomorrow look like? What does the week look like for me? What are my objectives? What do I need to do in order to put my stamp on it by the end of the week and say that was a productive week?
And
Um,
like for me, I think feeling accomplished and achieved is huge. To be like, right, I said that I wanted to do that, and I did it. And I don't think there's anything, there's no better feeling than that. And that goes for everything in your life, by the way. Goals, fitness related, personal. When you're like, I said I was going to do it, and I bloody did it.
yeah, I agree, and that's just like it's like an affirmation, isn't it?
Yeah.
You become the person
That you said you were
that
going to
you
be.
yeah, and that breeds confidence. The other thing that I find is that when you're a particularly busy person, like we're fucking busy, right? We're busy people. Stuff sneaks up on you and stuff comes around quick.
Oh my God, yeah, it
And
really
is
does.
there anything more jarring than getting a notification in your calendar that you've got a meeting in half an hour that you're like, fuck, that's today?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So just
yeah.
being like
Ahead.
ahead. So you'd be like, cool, 12 o'clock, I'm meeting with James. That's on. I know what to do. I've got my pitch ready. I've done the
Yeah.
work. There's nothing more jarring than, or embarrassing than when you double book yourself. You've done it. I've done it. It happens, but
Yeah.
you have to, it just makes you look really unprofessional.
It doesn't
So
happen again though, does it? Once you do it
yeah,
once, it
that's
doesn't
true.
happen again.
That's true.
Um, what else this does, looking at the night before, is or whenever you take that time, whether you look Monday morning or whenever you do, just scope out your diary and your week. I think not just for the day ahead, I think the week, because for me, when it comes to like international travel or even traveling in the UK, and this would be the same if you're at work and you've got client meetings and you're busy, I have to plan and schedule my week around those key diary
Mm,
like entries.
hmm.
So like if I'm traveling, I know that I need to go to the shop on Wednesday to get food so I can make some stuff on Thursday ready for Friday. Do
Yeah,
you, do you know what I mean? So it helps me prep out my whole week to be like, right, okay, cool. So I need to leave the house at this time on Wednesday because I need to go to Asda. I know that's not always going to be the case, but it just gives me a bit of a window of when I can do what I need to do to be able to achieve.
I think it's a really good point. I like that because it's not just like, cool, what does my work day look like? It allows you to understand, like, right, I want to train 3 or 4 times this week
Mhm,
and I need to do 2 food shops
mhm.
and I want to take the boy swimming. And so that's really important. And I like that a lot. Um,
It's really key for me because, like, I hate being in a position where have to pick food up on the go
yeah.
because then I don't if I can't pick up the right thing, I'm not feeling good. Then that directly impacts my productivity. However, that whatever that looks like for me. For me, that's physical productivity.
Mm,
Um, so being ahead of it and just like having stuff in my locker really helps. So the night before is really key,
yeah.
and I think that leads really nicely into sleep.
Yeah. Can I just talk about a few more things the night before that I think are really important that
Yeah,
for me are big pillars, right?
yeah.
Get off social media, get off your devices, create a bedtime routine. I just, yeah, I couldn't move on without talking about this. Create a bedtime routine, a proper nighttime routine where you are bringing down your energy, you're preparing for a good night's sleep. So whether that's making sure you're not having any caffeine past a certain point, or you're shutting off the thing particularly with social media, right, is it's designed to keep you there. And a lot of the time it's designed to outrage. And I just don't think that's particularly healthy, putting that shit into your brain before you power down for the night.
Well, I think that leads really nicely into sleep because sleep needs to be number one for you. You need to have a good night's sleep. I think that's just the most important. But what you're saying there will directly impact your the quality of your sleep.
Yeah, you've got to do the stuff up front. I've done it. Replying to one more client before I go to bed or this and that. And it just, you end up thinking about it, and then you don't get over the edge as quickly and nod off into sleep. Or the worst one, I've done this before and I know you've done similar stuff, where I have spent so long in the build up to bed on my phone that some bad news has landed with me. And I'm like, like a deal's fallen out or something's gone wrong, or, well, I can't do anything about it now. I just have to address it in the morning. But now that's fucked up my whole night's sleep because now I'm thinking about it
Mm.
and trying to solve the problem in my head. So generally, Bex, you and I say, get the devices down, get a book in your hand, spend some quality time with loved ones, and just create an environment, bring the light down
Unwind.
and unwind. And then,
Yeah.
as you said, then we can roll into sleep and hopefully get a great night's sleep.
Something that I find, I actually had a conversation with a client about this last week, is that like for me, as you know, I sleep really well. I can be on my phone till like I do work late because of circumstances that I have to,
Hmm.
but I do try and carve out a little bit of downtime. But if I don't, for like I say, circumstances, I'll sleep well. That's not the problem.
Mm.
But I'll wake up in the morning feeling heavy behind the eyes.
Yeah, you said that recently. Yeah.
So that's how I know that I'm doing too much screen time in the evening. Like I sleep great. I'm still getting like 7 to 8 hours, but it's there's just something cognitively not switching on. And I think it is that exposure. And it's really interesting because I had a client that was the same. She's like, I still feel like I've got really low energy levels. She's eating well, she's working out, she's sleeping well.
Mm.
But when we looked at the REM, her deep REM, it was 30 minutes.
Wow.
I responded when she sent me this, I just said, fuck. It's like, mate, you should be about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
So like she was like, well, I'm sleeping well, I'm getting 8 hours, but her REM sleep, her deep REM was 30 minutes. So everything happens in your deep REM or your recovery. So sometimes if you find that you're sleeping well, like on paper, but you're still feeling a bit tired, it might be coming from your deep REM.
For sure. And
But
just on that, sorry, can I jump in? There was a really interesting study that I can't recall off the top of my head. So go and Google it, and you'll find this, it'll pop straight up. There was a study done on surgeons who had, they sort of divided the test group into people that had, I think, 5+ hours and people who had less than five. Again, this is a really easy Googleable study, so you'll see it yourself. And the punchline is that the surgeons who had a like less than 5 hours sleep, the rate of mistakes went up exponentially, like an eye-watering amount. The other thing also to remember, if you are someone who is dealing with large quantities of information or very acute information or data, um, a lot of what happens when you sleep is that information that you learn almost gets consolidated and banked. Um, Yet when you don't sleep as well, you're more likely or less likely to retain information, or store information that could be critical to performance. So,
Yeah.
sleep is we talk about it like we're on fucking commission for sleep, but
Mm,
it is, if you're not getting that right, it's really, really hard to kind of get anything else that we're talking about today right, I think.
100%. I think you have to be really selfish too. Like, when I have big events going on and I need to go to bed, like you will stay up a little bit later and I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm going to bed because I have to, like, sleep is so high on my priority list that, like, you're either coming with me or not. So, and I say that with clients too. If you want it enough, like for me, and a good night's sleep is so high that if I don't, if I'm going to leave you up, okay, cool. I'll see you in the morning. Like
Yeah.
you have to prioritize you. So that's a really, really big
There
one.
is nothing else on this list, just to be really clear again, there is nothing else on this list that we're gonna say today that comes above sleep.
No,
We're
nothing.
just ranking it in kind of order of how the day unfolds,
Yeah.
but if you're not getting your sleep right, you'll struggle to get anything else kind of really off on this
Yeah,
list. Is that
and
fair?
and I think you need to be mindful of your parents as well. Like, how your child's sleeping, how what your child's doing. If you know that you're likely to get a wake up or they're a bit inconsistent with their sleep pattern,
Right.
like go to bed earlier. No, like if I know that if I when we had periods that like we knew Ro was going to get up, or we had, if you get a long sleep through the night, like absolute result, but factor that in,
Mm,
like go to bed a little bit earlier to claw back some of that lost time that you've got. So, again, it just comes down to prioritizing that.
yeah.
The next one for you,
So let's roll from, we've done nighttime routine, we've
which
done
leads into sleep.
sleep, which leads into your morning routine.
Mm.
Now, the morning routine has become a bit of a social media gimmick of late. Ashton Hall, this guy who has like the 4 hour kind of morning routines, and they're very elaborate and very glamorous.
You know what though? If I didn't have to teach in the evenings, I probably would get up at 4:30, 5,
Yeah, and like this guy's obviously got a lifestyle and he's trying to sell you a particular product.
maybe 4:30 is a bit of a stretch.
Um,
Half
but
5.
yeah, I think it's really important just to highlight that it's I think it's very important to have a great morning routine. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be dunking your face in a bowl of like $17 bottle of water. It just has to be something that works for you, and ours is really simple. We get pushed back on it a fair bit. People say, "Oh well, it's all right for you. You guys work for yourselves." Look, I appreciate our lifestyle might be different to those that are kind of in a regular 9 to 5. I do understand, but our fundamental morning routine is we get some loving in. I don't just mean me and you. Me, you, and our son, Roman, will have a little cuddle in bed, and we'll spend that time just bonding. And that's, we're not spending ages. We're just spending a little bit of time just reconnecting in the morning. We hydrate with electrolytes. You're going to have a drink anyway at some point throughout your morning. We like deliberate cold exposure in way of a cold
Okay.
shower. We're going to have a shower anyway. And then we eat a high protein breakfast. If we've got the time, then we'll read some meditations, some Stoics, some Marcus Aurelius or something like that. And, um, that's a bit of a bonus. Sometimes we don't. But yeah, really it is just reconnect as a family, as a tribe, hydrate with electrolytes, get cold, and
High protein
have a high
breakfast.
protein breakfast. Like none of those things are outside of the ordinary for me. So stop making excuses.
There's no more to add to that.
Why do you like a morning routine? What does it do for you though, out of interest? Because we're saying do one, but
It sets up your day.
I think so.
It's standards. Within that morning routine as well, for me, is like making your bed.
Yeah, yeah, it's big for you.
It's huge. Like it's just sloppy if you don't make your bed. Like for me, like it's a really big part of the day. So yeah, I don't mean that to be really like firm to be like I've got no more to add. Like I literally couldn't have said it better. Like it just sets up my day. Like, you know, since delaying caffeine and adding electrolytes in, huge difference in the way I feel. High protein breakfast is an absolute no brainer. That sets me. It literally just sets up my day.
Yeah,
Like I know what I'm doing, and it's not even a case of being like I need the structure. It's just it sets my day up. It sets me up to succeed.
yeah, I totally agree. And it's evidence backed as well. If you look at our very simple 4-step morning routine, the that beautiful good feeling of when, and hopefully you've still got, if you listen to this, if you have kids, they're still of age where they come running into your bedroom in the morning. It is the best thing in the world, right? And our boy comes running in, he gives us kisses and cuddles, and we quickly read a little book with him, and so immediately, like, my cup is
Full.
really full.
Yeah.
Um, I hydrate because the brain requires such a significant amount from you in terms of hydration from a performance standpoint. Um,
Mm.
and like I said, we've pushed caffeine out. I like it for a couple of reasons. The pushing the caffeine out for me, if I drink caffeine before I properly hydrate, I just feel more dehydrated. I've gone 8 hours without having a drink. The first thing I put in my body, I don't want it to be something that is prone to dehydrate you. Um, I also find that the caffeine works a little bit better, and I
Definitely.
sort of avoid that afternoon slump. I can't remember the last time I had an afternoon slump. It's been years and years and years. Um,
Yeah, I agree with that.
so, some people love it, some people hate it, each to their own. I like it. Get hydrated. Why wouldn't you? Um, I like the cold exposure. Again, people shit on cold exposure. I think they're called pussies. The people that don't like it. Um, and look, it's been overhyped. The cold exposure, the ice baths, all that has been overhyped by the social media landscape. But fundamentally, you can't escape from the fact that it jolts you awake. It's like really jarring, isn't it? You're like,
I
fuck.
can't not do it now. I feel guilty if I don't do it.
No, I can't get my day going without it.
No, it's so good. It just especially if I wake up feeling tired, like, it's the first thing I'll seek to do is
Yeah,
get in the cold,
yeah,
just to be like, "Whew,
yeah. I
okay,
seek
I'm
it out.
ready. I'm ready to
Um,
rumble." So yeah,
the dopamine spike is enormous, and I mean enormous. Go and Google this yourself. Look at cold exposure and dopamine spike. Um, I knew a guy who used to do cold showers with his son, who was about 6 or 7, every morning. And kids have got this wonderful way where they're not eloquent enough yet to kind of speak in a certain way, but they're raw enough to tell you how they feel. And he said to his dad, and I fucking love this. He said, "Dad, this is the happiest I am all day." So he obviously couldn't comprehend as to why that was. Probably a bit of father-son bonding time,
mm,
but also that cold shock that, you're just pumped up and ready to go. It's such a
that
game
dopamine.
changer. And then obviously, can we quickly touch on high protein? Protein's hard to hit. It's hard to hit your protein goals. Yeah, it's so important. So by not fueling yourself correctly, body and mind, you're kind of playing catch up for the rest of the day.
Oh yeah, if you can't get like 25, 30 grams in the morning, then
It's
it's
tricky.
really hard.
It's tricky.
You got to work double time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then I think we've covered your nighttime routine, sleep, morning routine, and then I think move into deep work. For being super productive, I think you need to allocate your work time. I was just about to use a specific word. It's just phew. You need to be clever of how you allocate your
Yeah,
work
yeah,
time. I
for
think you
sure.
need to understand when you work best. For me, that's the morning really. Actually, first thing in the morning would be the best.
Mm.
But knowing when do you work well. Some people really aren't morning people, and a lot of the time it takes them a couple of, a few hours to get in gear.
Yeah, but I
But I
wonder, I'm
think
really
that's
sorry to interrupt. I don't know if you're about to say this, but I wonder how many people would be morning people if they had a better nighttime routine,
yeah,
slept better,
I
and
was
had
just
a
about to
better
say that.
morning routine. Sorry to interrupt. Carry
Yeah.
on.
I know so many people who aren't morning people, and the first thing they put in their body is coffee because they try and combat that feeling of tiredness, but then spent the evening scrolling. Like, so yeah, it does all interlink. But having those deep work periods, especially if you've got especially if you've got obstacles, like if you've got children or, you know, whatever that looks like, pick up time, drop offs, um, after school events. It could be anything, or if you work, that still applies even if you're working in an office. Doesn't matter. Your work day is still the same. I think understanding and scheduling out that deep work, and making it a non-negotiable time. So I think with that is, making sure when you have your deep work periods that the environment that you're working in is really good. So like your setup's exactly how it should be, and I'm not talking like make sure you've got a laptop. Like, is your desk tidy? Is your office tidy? Have you got a clear space? Is it clean? And get rid of any distractions. So if you know you're going to have deep work between, I don't know, maybe 8:30 and 10:30, um, you put your phone away and you just maybe
Mm.
lock in, headphones in, maybe some lo-fi or whatever you use to really lock in. For me, I like this isn't just a plug, but Newtonic is so good for that. If I know that I've got a chunk of work that I need to do, I'll take something like a new tonic, which is designed to, enhance your focus, and it will just dial me in.
It isn't a plug, but why don't you give them the discount code?
Yeah, you can get 10% off if you want to with Becky 10. It is worthwhile. I've been taking if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I've been taking Newtonic for a really, 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 really long time.
Yeah.
Um, so it just locks you in. So yeah, I think setting up your week, and then with that, although we don't live a normal 9 to 5 life, that does mean that my working arena is very, very different. So Mondays and Fridays, Rose in nursery, so I can really structure my day and have those periods. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he's not, and I need to work out, like, I still need to do some work. So when can I get those deep pockets in? And my deep pockets are so small that they have to count. And that then comes back to the clarity that I was talking about by looking over your weeks, where, what needs to be done in these time periods, um, for you to be able to get to the end of the week and be like, yeah, I did it. I accomplished exactly what I needed to do. I've done what I've, set out. So yeah, those deep works are really crucial.
What is a good deep work time frame for you? What sort of
What time, like how long?
yeah, how
I think
long do you like?
2 hours.
That's really interesting because I am I know you've heard me say this before. I like 90 minutes for a deep work pocket,
Mm.
to the point where I'll back myself that I will outwork anybody in 90 minutes. Um, if we start getting to an hour 45, 2 hours, you'll see me go from like flying to free falling really quickly. Like, it's amazing how quickly I go from like 90 minutes of the best quality, most high intense work you've ever seen to just
Falling off the edge of a cliff.
absolute garbage. Yeah, within like that 30-minute pocket. I like 90 minutes. Like you said, Bex, I think it's important that you schedule it. So again, easier said than done for us maybe than someone in a corporate space, because you've got other people putting in meetings because they control your time a little bit
Yeah,
more.
they do, but I think you have to protect yours as well. Like, I know we're going to touch on this a little bit, but that's where, carving out blocking out your lunch, like block out your non-negotiables. So your lunch, when you're going to finish, if you need to leave, when that is, and then block out deep work periods. So if you are in a corporate environment, you know, maybe an hour. Maybe you don't
Mm.
have an app, but then like you know your diary too. Like when I worked in corporate, like Tuesday was a really, really busy meeting day because it was all the pre-meets. Because, in corporate, you have a meeting about a meeting about the meeting.
Where you used to work, and funnily enough, in a past life, I used to work. I've never known the necessity for so many fucking meetings.
Yeah, we had a pre-meet for the
Just,
meeting on the Thursday. So like there was so many pre-meets. So once you start to know your calendar and stuff, but again, it's protecting that time. Like, oh, when can I get a meeting in with you? Don't be like, oh, I had this period that I blocked out for me to deep work. Like, no, that's my time.
mm,
And that comes in with your lunch and, protecting your time and again being selfish. You need to get shit done. So
yeah,
you either lock in and get it done, or you don't and you don't move forward. You choose.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, that deep work for me is it's really, really key. And you have to understand what works best for you, because some people I know work really well at night.
yeah,
I can work well at night. On a Sunday evening, I'll put in an hour and a half shift of deep work.
yeah. We both do. Yeah,
Yeah, we do. We sit down and tackle it.
I really enjoy that time too. By the way, I find it like
Mm,
it's not quality couple time, but I love the fact we're both getting after it. When I have this thing about, I like doing shit when other people aren't,
yeah.
and I like the fact that we're putting in the work and most people are chilling.
But it gets you ahead of the week. That's the feeling that we like.
I mean, we have to. The schedule is just obscene at the moment. It's more obscene than it's ever been as well. So if you don't get ahead of it, then yeah, it's wild. Just quickly, I want to final thing and touch on the deep work, because you sort of mentioned it, and I think this is really interesting. I was told this by a neuroscientist, and it's been one of the best things I've ever implemented. Lo-fi music, you mentioned it,
Mm.
is phenomenal for deep work. You
You
can
really, really, really like
I
it.
dig it. I really dig it. And what's cool about it, right, is so you can just go on Spotify and you can also search like a genre within. So like
Yeah,
with
I like R&B lo-fi.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm a house music guy, so I'll opt for like a deep house lo-fi. You can pop on Spotify, YouTube, or your streaming service of choice. And what's really interesting is for the first 5 or 10 minutes, it'll be a little bit distracting
Mm,
because you'll be like, oh, it's a tune, or I like this. And then this weird thing happens. And I pointed out to you a little while ago, and I think you'll agree with this. I said to Bex, like, I know this is a bit distracting, but just hold fire because in about 10 minutes, you won't even hear the music. And it's something to do, and I'm not a fucking neuroscientist, right? I don't know. But again, you can Google it yourself. There's something to do with the frequency of the beat and I guess the frequency of the tone and the pitch that allows you to really lock in. And it does that kind of same thing as like white noise.
mm,
If you were to put, I like a deep brown noise. I find that particularly when I'm reading, really just locks everything else out and keeps me in a bubble. So
yeah.
give that a go. If you're someone who kind of struggles to stay focused during deep work, lo-fi music or like a white noise or something like that can be tremendously valuable.
I think you have to be in the right headspace. Like, you have to know you're about to lock in.
That's also really true.
You can't just be like, "Oh, my deep work period starts in 10 minutes. What can I
Yeah,
work on?"
for sure.
So, like, for
For
me, when I
sure.
know that I shut that office door, or like on a Sunday night when we are chilling, we're both on our laptop, like, we know that we actually do cap it on a Sunday. We do say, like, we're gonna spend about an hour and a half. That's really it, isn't it? Like, we
Yeah.
don't let that get crazy, and
No.
again, having that cap on it. So, yeah, and then I think it's really important to schedule breaks throughout your day as well. So something that used to work really, really well for me in corporate is 11 and 3. I sort of I used to mirror it. I don't as much. I suppose I do actually. My 11 o'clock coffee is now more at 10:30, and my 3 o'clock coffee is closer to 4 o'clock because of my schedule and going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
work.
yeah. But
But having those breaks during the day, so I would always go in and work, and then know that 11 o'clock would roll round. I would have a coffee, I'd have a snack, always have a snack, and then work through to lunch, smash out lunch, and then do the same again and have that 3 o'clock half free, sometimes more too, half two,
yeah, but I love that because like
going for a
you
coffee.
talked about 2 hour deep work pockets. So if that's again, obviously this is super loose, but if that's 9 till 11
Yeah,
and then 11 till say 1,
yeah,
bit of a lunch break, and then maybe, or however it plays out,
yeah.
12:30, 12, and then 1 at 2, and then, that's what, 2:30 till 5, and then it kind of gets you to the end of the day, and it definitely breaks up the day, makes it a bit more manageable.
Sometimes you get those flow states though, where you're like, it's maybe your deep work period has ended. Again, when I say this is very loose, because it doesn't have to end. It's just that, like, if 11 o'clock rolls around and you want to get up and have a snack or a coffee, like, it's a good time to get up and move. But sometimes you'll be so deep in on something, and then before you know it, it's like 1 o'clock, and you're like, "Fuck!"
I totally agree with that. If you're in the groove, it
Like,
seems a shame to
don't
waste
come
it.
out of it. Yeah,
That being said, there is a fine line. Fucking hell, if I had a pound for every time I've said this exact line, more time at desk does not equal more productivity.
no,
Not always. Um, yes, you're working more hours. Yes, there's more time. But then when we start to look at the quality of the work and the productivity, that's going to start to slope off. So it's just finding that balance. Absolutely push through if you're feeling it.
yeah, you have to be in it because
Um,
sometimes you're just staring at a problem, and you're like, I just don't, I don't know what the answer is here.
mhm,
And at that point, you have to be like, right, take a break, reset. And this is why going out for a walk is so important.
yeah.
Like, get away from your desk. I just really don't understand the desk slaves that are in, or why people are such a slave to their desk when every time they get out and just move, even if that's a 10 or 20-minute walk, how much better you feel. It's so important.
I think it's a leadership failure, actually. I think we've created a culture, certainly in some of the environments that I've worked in. I know that you've worked in because we've shared some of those. Um, it's like, what the fuck are you doing away from your desk?
Yeah.
Um, and so,
Oh, that
you
is
know,
the worst about corporate.
we really need leaders to understand that, and leaders, we know you're under pressure too. We know you're getting shit from the people above you, right? But you've got to understand that your people will perform better. Look, if someone's just wandering around and doing fuck all, then then you got to deal with that.
We all have days doing that though.
We've all done it, yeah, for sure. And that's your job as a leader also to fix that. Like, let's put it this way, right? And there's lots of nuance, but if you're a leader and you see that one of your employees hasn't left their desk in 4 or 5 hours, it is your responsibility to get them out of their seat, get them on their feet, get them moving, not only for their welfare, but for the productivity of your team.
I think that's such a red flag though. Like if
It's
I
a
had so
huge red flag.
if I had someone in my team that wasn't like that was so relentless like that, I'd be like, babe, you need to go take 10. Like
Yeah.
come away. It's like I never forget the first time one of our directors did a walking meeting. I was like, this is so cool. Like, and it's so funny because you have two camps, people that are so inactive
Mhm.
and lazy, quite frankly, that are like, why are we going on a
Yeah, they're
walk?
absolutely fucking dying.
Yeah, like why can't we sit and just sit at a desk and talk about this? And then you have people that are like really active and like, what, we're going for a walk in the middle of the day to have a chat. Let's go. So I say to people all the time, like my clients, when they're like, "Oh, I've just had back-to-back calls today," like, is there none of those calls again that you could look at? Like, this would come back to that nighttime planning. Like, is there none of those calls that you can take on the phone? Sometimes, right? I would even when I work from home, especially during COVID, and I had calls. I'll just go out into the garden and walk up and down the
Yeah.
garden and walk around and, when I don't have to leave, but like don't be chained to your desk. So I think having those pockets of break, like you've got your deep work, having those pockets are really, really good. And then that feeds into lunch as well and protecting your time for lunch, making sure that you go out and get, even if whether you've prepped or you've got to go buy something, whatever you need to do, like don't sit and work at your desk for lunch. Like go and take at least 20 minutes,
Mhm.
even if you walk outside the building or walk outside your house or go put a wash on and then or put the wash outside, just do something that's away from your
Move,
desk.
move, and rest the eyes, get the blood flowing again. There's some really good stuff from Dr. Rhonda Patrick on, and you guys should, if you're consuming art content, fuck me, you should be consuming Dr. Rhonda Patrick's content, right? She talks a lot about the benefits on productivity and performance in the workplace, and the link between like moving and increased blood flow to the brain.
Oh yeah.
It's a no-brainer. So absolutely, yes, get up and move, ring fence it, it's yours. Um, I can't believe I'm having to fucking say this in 2026, but leaders, stop scheduling meetings over your employees' lunch times.
Oh, it's such a dick
It's a
move.
massive dick move. You are decreasing the productivity of your team, not increasing it.
Yeah, but then
So
you
when you have to, sorry, one sec, when you have to report up the chain of command as to how or why your team is not performing, could very well be your fault if you're doing stupid shit like that. So cut it out.
yeah,
You're
but
welcome.
that's how that's setting standards. That was what I was gonna say. Like, so if you're my boss and you're putting in a meeting with me over lunch, that's the standard that I shouldn't have my lunch
Hmm.
or I'm not worthy of lunch
It becomes
or
a
like
complete company culture.
it's just awful.
Mm,
Like I just think it starts at the top. Like you
yeah, it
can't
does.
be, you know, or you go for a walking lunch. Or if you want to meet with me at lunch, like why don't we go get lunch together
Mm,
and sit and have lunch? Okay, like it might not be your idea of a break, but like some people actually wouldn't mind that. So like just be a bit more proactive with it. If you're going to schedule it over
yep.
lunch, like maybe just say, "Hey, I'm going to grab a sandwich. We go get one together."
Yeah, let's walk and talk. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's an absolute dick move.
cool. On the lunch thing, let's not overlook actual lunch, what
Yeah.
you consume, right?
Yeah.
I've seen many a tremendous professional just lose the latter half of their day because they've consumed shit for lunch.
Oh, it's
Um,
that crash that you talk about.
it's that afternoon crash. Uh, I think the technical name is the postprandial glucose response, where basically you pump your body full of processed shit, predominantly sugars, and then your body just goes, "The fuck am I supposed to do with this?" Has a really hard time digesting it, breaking it down. That zaps a huge amount of your energy. Your
Yeah.
sugar levels crash, and then that's you for the rest of the day. Um, just to be really clear from a professional standpoint, because I've seen it time and time again. Um, Believe me that your superiors, your leadership team notice that. Every day at 2:30 we lose Gary. He just disappears into like a food-induced K-hole and just can't perform. Yeah, believe me, that doesn't go unnoticed. I've been talking about this previously. I was on the Perform Well podcast recently, as were you, and I think this probably will just be the bit of content, so I'll just clip it from here. But I've got this premise for content. I don't know how to produce it, on the meal deal being cheap, but what it actually costs you in terms of productivity, and performance. So yeah, that probably is the bit of content then. Yes, the mildew is cheap, but it will be taking a huge amount from you in terms of productivity hours and productivity pounds.
Do you know what I found about the meal deal though? Is people are like, well, the crisps and the chocolate were part of the meal deal.
Yeah, they justify it to themselves to eat
Like,
shit.
just fucking buy the sandwich
Yeah, 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 yeah,
or whatever you're buying. Like, you
yeah,
don't need. I've never looked at it and gone, oh, well, it will be a little bit cheaper if I.
yeah.
It's not cheaper though, is it? It's like for an extra 40p,
Mm,
you get a bag
mm.
of crisps and a drink. Like, just
It's perceived value. It's a fantastic marketing thing, and I'm sure we can talk about that on another podcast when we talk marketing. But yeah, it's perceived value.
it's very
But
good.
but you know that 40p and the McCoys and the Coke is ruining your afternoon's work. And look, just being really candid, if you lose 2.5 hours of productivity every day, and you stack that up against someone like you or me, you're going to get left in the dust. And so
Yeah.
if you don't care, right? If your job is just your job and you want to tick along, collect your money, go home at 5, and
Your meal deal is the
then
highlight of your
then
day.
yeah, crack on and get your meal deal for sure. If you're serious about climbing the corporate ladder and promotions on your mind and development is on your mind, then you've got to do better. You've got to start eating foods that are satiating, going to keep you feeling full, and going to have a healthy return when it comes to actually, um, you know, the performance and how that impacts your physical and cognitive performance.
It's I like well, it's very, very rare that you'd ever see me drinking fizzy drinks anyway.
Mm.
I very rarely have fizzy drinks, if ever, really. Um, because that
Because
really
Nutonic's only lightly sparkling, I believe. I'm just
this
messing
is
around.
this is actually
I
fizzy.
know what you mean. But I know what you mean. Soda.
Soda.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like Coke, Sprite, anything like that. Because it actually all stemmed. I mean, I did eat shit, so my diet wasn't good. But I would have a bottle of Coke or 2 bottles of Coke a day when I was working when I was like 16, 17. So I was young anyway. But the sugar crashes
Yeah,
that I would get,
for sure.
I would have like some soup for lunch. And then it's that whole bit about I actually didn't want the soup, I just wanted the bread.
The Such a funny bit of I don't know if anyone's seen that bit of content. It's so funny. There's this guy, I'll quickly tell you because I think it's funny. There's this guy does a little bit of content, on Instagram or something. He was talking about, "I had soup for lunch, but really I realized I don't actually like soup. I just wanted bread and butter."
And that was what
Um,
it was. I would have like half a baguette, Coke, all the wrong foods. And the sugar crashes were horrendous. But I won't do it to myself. I just can't.
you can roll with it a little bit how old are you?
What, right now?
No, how old were you? I know how old you are, you're my wife.
Oh.
Don't ask me when your birthday is though, not in front of everybody.
What when I
Yeah,
was
how
like
old were you when you were doing that?
19,
Oh, yeah, you can roll with that. You can roll with the
18,
punches a
19.
little bit there.
Yeah, but I used to sit in the stock room like and almost like take little 10-minute power naps
Wow.
because the crashes were so bad.
Yeah.
Then I wasn't fit. I wasn't like I wasn't inactive because on the shop floor, but that's not really
Yeah, I know what you
you
mean.
know what I mean? Anyways, so that yeah, I just won't touch it during the week. You know, like that having that nice we're going off into a different subject now though, but having that nice 80-20, 90-10 balance of life is great. But I use that for like my actual downtime, not during the week. I want to be sharp. I need to be on my A game. I want to be creative. I want to be able to work hard. So it all stems from that. And I think the biggest one really, sleep first and then hydration. Do you know how much stick I used to get? Two things here. It made me think about it because I've actually just reordered a half a gallon
I know what you're
bottle,
gonna say here.
half a gallon bottle of like a bulk clear bottle. So it's like that big, like the little
Like the
small
little
jugs.
barrels.
The barrels, yeah.
Yeah.
It is half a gallon, so that's a little bit smaller. But do you remember when I used to have one that was
You had a 2 litre, however much that is. You did have a 2
2.
litre.
There was one that I had that was a bit bigger before as well, but,
Jeez.
I would carry that around in my corporate job, and the amount of stick I'd get for it
Mhm.
all the time from everyone, and it's like, well, yeah, but, like, I need that again, like, I think it's really important to know what works for you and what doesn't work for you, like, I'd love to have, like, a cute little Chili's bottle or a Stanley bottle, but it doesn't work for me because I need to see how much I'm drinking, and I need it to be really I need a lot of the time, I need something that's like
Yeah, you like a visual representation.
these bottles that are like 11 AM.
Yeah,
and you're at 9, I'm like, "Fuck, down water, down water." I think they're amazing. But if I'm not hydrated, I am like, I really, 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 really see the differences
yeah.
of like hydration versus dehydration.
I said it earlier. The demand from your brain from a hydration standpoint is fucking significant.
Is
It
it
is.
20% of the water in the I feel like 20% rings a bell for the how much like
I don't know.
mm,
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
it's a lot though.
But I'm talking about more just from a performance a cognitive performance standpoint. You know, it's generally what you tend to find is in most cases when you get like brain fog or fatigue or headaches, one of the first reasons or one of the first things you should go and investigate and you can tick off is dehydration.
I heard something about that as well with anxiety and depression.
Interesting.
Yeah, a
Go
lot
on.
of it can stem from dehydration. It's so important. I think I don't think it's until you are hydrated for a period of time. I honestly, when I meet people or speak to people that maybe have a glass of water or hardly drunk anything all day, like I honestly don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
How are you not feeling like awful?
Terrible for your organs, terrible for your skin,
Your brain.
obviously your brain, just fucking dreadful for you. And yeah, you're going to be underperforming. You're going to be feeling like shit. Um, and I mean, I was going to take a cheap shot. I might not, but you know, I will just say this: like, I hear grown adults being like, "But I don't like water." I don't care. Be a grown up. Drink your fucking water.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a silly reason
Not to drink water.
to not do something that is going to help you exponentially or hold you back. Um,
Yeah, but our bodies need water.
it's essential.
It's like it's part of life. Like you can't survive without water.
No.
So, people it's just an excuse. It really is. Sorry if
Um,
that offends you, but
but yeah,
it's
don't be pathetic. Basically.
yeah, you need water and you need a lot of it
Hmm.
and you need to start prioritizing it. It's when people go, "Oh, but it makes me pee a lot." Well, yeah, because your body's not used to it. Give it like a couple of days and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like we drink like 2-3 liters of water a day
Yeah.
minimum. Like I don't pee more than I'm not on the toilet all the
No,
time. Like your body will get used to it, and also, so what?
that's also it. Yeah. So
Oh
what?
no, I need to get up and go to the toilet.
Oh no, my body is functioning properly.
With that, I know this is a complete side note, but I do think with hydration and stuff, like it should be alarming to you if like for me, if at like 11, 12 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock in the day, I go to the toilet and I know it's a bit TMI, but like
No.
if your wee is like dark or like that should be a red flag.
Yeah.
So like, that's I can't imagine what that must be like at the end of the day if you've drunk like one glass of water.
Oh yeah, it'll be brown.
But like that should be a good metric for you.
Yeah, the color of your urine 100% determines your level of hydration, and you should pay attention to it. Some days I'll
Yeah,
go for a pee and I'll be like, I need to drink more.
absolutely.
Like it is a marker. I'm like,
I
fuck.
same. Like if I go and it's clear, I'm like,
Cool.
yes,
Yeah, great. Happy days. Let's move on.
I'm hydrated. So I think it's a really important factor. But yeah, there's to really I think just to recap a little bit, some of the notes that I had made with this is clarity, which we spoke about,
Mhm.
setup, stuff like that. But one thing that I didn't um I wanted to oh no, I did say about the fewer distractions, and I didn't think I mentioned that.
Yeah, you did.
I
Yeah.
did mention it, didn't I?
Yeah, in your deep work setting. Yeah.
Oh, yep, sorry. Time block we mentioned and removing friction was something that I wanted to,
Okay.
like anything that's going to put a bit of a blocker in your way or, and I think that comes down to, you know, it actually more comes with stuff that's like a bit personal, like if at the end of the work day you want to go to the gym, having
Hmm.
your gym clothes ready. Any barriers or stuff like whether that's you taking your phone out of the equation or anything that's going to put friction between you and your goal.
Mm,
And that's just where I sort of it moves out of the work arena more than anything else really. But
mm,
actually not really because
not
actually like
really.
even food prepping, I think so food prepping to make sure you get a good lunch
Yeah.
removes the friction of you having then to.
No,
I think it's
I
really
totally
important.
agree. And little things like how prepared are you? Again, we talked about the night before. It's the first thing we said. How much is that? How much is what you do or you do not do going to impact the morning of? So how many times do you see people go up and be like, I don't know what to wear, and they have a mass fit, and they'll spend more time deciding what to wear than they will investing in a morning routine, and then have the audacity to tell me that my morning routine is too time consuming.
I would always actually on that, I'd always know what I was gonna wear roughly
100%.
the next day the when I was going into the office or like I love dressing up when I was in the office. I always took pride
Mm,
in what I wore. So that was a really, really big thing for me. And I'm really, really big on like feel good, look good, that type of thing.
yeah.
Um, but absolutely, like even for us on a Sunday, even though we work for ourselves and there's not really any like time constraints, like if you need to pop out on a Monday, so what? But on a Sunday, we're like, no, we need to make sure we have our eggs, we
Hmm.
have our sourdough, we need to make sure we have our lunch in so that it's really silly. You like to train in the morning on a Monday morning,
Yeah.
and then you come home and you smash out your deep work. It works really, really well for you. But on a Sunday, if we go to the shop and buy lunch for Monday, then you've removed the friction of having to stop and start and having your day jagged where
Hmm.
you could just come home, get into it, and then lunch is there.
That's it.
It's the same for you, like when you pick Row up tonight from nursery, the shop's directly opposite. Pop in, buy lunch for
For
tomorrow,
tomorrow. Yeah.
and then tomorrow's done.
Yeah.
Like it's little things like that. Like where can you find pockets in your day to get you ahead for the next day? And like it's a 1% win, but it moves you forward a lot. It's what I put down here as well, made some notes, is like where you put your energy actually frees up more time. And I think that's a really, really big one as well. Like what you put your energy into, like will free you up time elsewhere,
Yeah.
you know?
Discipline equals freedom.
Yeah,
I know it's become a bit of a cliche, but that whole Jocko Willink principle is spot on. Discipline
everything.
equals freedom. Having the discipline to do these small, mundane tasks makes life much easier. And you talked about like the 1%.
Oh, I love that.
There's something that I've revisited recently, and I don't know if anyone else has seen this, but Roger Federer is giving a graduation speech, and I'll give you kind of the gist. I'll paraphrase slightly, but this is what he says. He said, "In my professional career, I've won over 80% of all of the matches I've played, which is pretty gangster, and he's
Hmm.
one of the greatest of all time. Of the 80% of those matches that he's won, he has only won 54% of the points played." And that's how small the margins are. So one of the greatest tennis players of all time has only won just over half of the points he's ever played.
Mm.
And so the margins are that small
Yeah.
between good and great, but also like good and shit. It doesn't take a lot. And I've said it before, I don't think it's that hard to be a high performer anymore. And I certainly don't think it's that hard to outperform people. I don't think it's ever been easy. I think too many people make excuses and they don't care about the 1%, those tiny little details. And if I'm being candid, I think it's a large portion to do with what you've built your businesses on.
Mm.
There's that famous saying that, you know, hard, what do they say? Jesus. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Mm.
No, you work hard and you're fucking talented too, so everyone's got to watch out. But you've just invested in these 1%, 1%, 1%,
Yeah.
and it's been fascinating to watch that those little differences it's compounding interest. It's the same as investing, right?
Hmm.
Anyway,
I'll always say that. Focus on the 1%, move forward by 1%, work on a little project for half an hour. I've moved forward. I think if you can focus on that, and this goes with like with back with even setting your intentions, knowing what you're working on, move forward a little
yeah,
bit, you know, get to the end of the week, be like, oh yeah, fuck, I updated that project a little bit. Like I'm a little bit further ahead. It's a great bloody feeling.
yeah, I agree. Let's quickly then touch on the one that we don't need to spend a huge amount of time touching on because we talk about it all the fucking time anyway. But 95% of the world's most successful people exercise regularly.
Yeah, I forgot about exercise.
You
Yeah,
don't,
you've got to build that into your routine. You really have. It's so important.
yeah,
Not only just to be I feel like exercise as well gives you a reason to I feel like it really helps with your discipline with like when you leave work and you're like, "Oh, no, I want to leave because I want to go to the gym." instead of letting that time gobble you up too. Like it really
Yeah.
helps put some
Like it
distance.
puts some punctuation on the day, doesn't it?
Mm,
On the work day, it can do.
yeah.
Or, put it in at lunchtime or before. Whenever you put it in, get it in. There's a couple of things that are going to come from exercise. And I think people are starting to fully understand this. Those that exercise know it. Those that don't maybe think, that this isn't necessarily true, or they don't want to admit it. When I see somebody that works out, and I don't just mean in shape. If they're in shape, that adds a layer to it. But I'm conscious that the fitness industry is becoming the fucking beauty industry. Let's talk about just fundamental fitness and performance and wellness, right? If I see somebody that works out a bunch and eats really well, I know they are disciplined.
Mm.
I know that they work hard. I know that they are comfortable doing hard things.
Tells you a lot
They
about their character, doesn't it?
a lot,
Mm.
a lot about their character. And so, I think finding the time for your mental health and your physical health to exercise, it's nice to look nice, but just train to be, fit
Feel
and
good.
comfortable, feel good. I think a lot of stuff stems from just feeling good. So, um,
So much stems from feeling good.
so if we'll just
Mm.
rerun it very quickly. These are the bullet points that I think you need to consider if you want to be more productive, in the professional arena. The night before, good nighttime routine,
Hmm.
get a great night's sleep.
Yeah.
Have a structured morning routine that's going to set you up for the day. It doesn't have to be complex or lavish.
Yeah.
Understand the concept of deep work. There's a great book actually by Hal Elrod called Deep Work. Check
Hmm.
it out. He's a really cool guy. So pockets when you can get deep into work with no distractions. Make sure it's long enough to get what you want to get done. Don't overcook it to the point of falling off the cliff from a productivity standpoint. Schedule, ring fence, and put boundaries around your breaks where you can move your body, fuel your body, and hydrate your body. Would that be
Hmm.
fair?
Yeah.
Um, Eat well, goes without saying. So eat a good breakfast, eat a good lunch.
Yeah.
Take your lunch. Take your fucking lunch. Um,
People don't take their lunch at Craig. You don't get paid for it.
I know, fuck that.
It's like
But again,
fucking hell.
that
Like
should be a
just
leadership thing.
yeah.
I would love to see. I don't know. Please tell us if you've got a boss like this. But I'd love to see a boss like just unplug someone's laptop. I think it'd be great. But like you've had enough. Like the way they cut you off at the pub.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, mate, you've had one too many. Just be like, fucking go outside. Do you know what I mean? I'd love to see that kind of almost the inverse of what we've got now, where that bullying culture of leadership is like more, more, more. I'd love to see like a boss like bully an employee into making better like lifestyle decisions.
Yeah.
Be
You know
like,
what's
right,
super interesting though with kids? You're like, you've been indoors too much. Go outdoors. It's sunny. It's
it's
nice.
a great analogy.
But like with when you're in the work environment, it's like must sit at my desk. Oh my god, look, it's 5 o'clock. Oh, the sun's going down.
Yeah.
Like just get out more. But yeah, we need to round this up.
Yeah, we do. So last one, hydrate, exercise. It's really simple, folks. Don't overcomplicate it.
There we
Bex, you
go.
want to bring it into land?
Yeah, thank you so much. They are our top productivity hacks, and something that we live by day in day out, and something
Mm,
that we push maybe a bit of a stretch, but we encourage our clients
yeah,
to do the same.
yeah.
I'd love you to implement some of them. Focus on the real small changes and just see the difference in the productivity yourself. Join us next time. We don't know what the topic is yet, do we? We haven't decided. We have so many topics that
Yeah, so many.
we're like, what we go with what fits best with what I suppose what we've been talking about of our clients
Yeah,
a
and
lot.
what's happening in our lives,
Yeah,
is a bit of a reflection of things that we're thinking about. We hope that comes across we hope there's a level of authenticity that we are talking about things that are meaningful to us, things that we've come across.
yeah. And then
Um,
things are popping up a lot. We're like, let's talk about that because we
yeah,
have a lot of clients asking about
if we're
that.
thinking about it or someone else is
Mm,
thinking about it, then
yeah.
it must be a bigger
So yeah,
issue.
thank you so much. Join us next time and hope you've enjoyed.